YouTube, how's it going? Jujubear here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be playing some Total War Attila. My opponent here is Sparbed, good man Sparbed, and we're getting into the Age of Charlemagne expansion pack. So really nice to see that people are getting online at the moment. It's definitely been fairly quiet before this DLC came out, but I think it brings something new to the table. So good job from CA in the release of this game, because they've done a really good job. I like the difference in gameplay and mechanics that you can apply to your gameplay. Especially now that infantry are so much more reliable, and they can kind of withstand a lot more punishing. So I am playing today as the Danes, or the Kingdom of the Danes. I've got 3 of these Viking hunters up the front. And I've got a very long line of just standard spearmen. Medium spear infantry, you know, just kind of standard cannon fodder that I can throw at the enemy. Behind them, I've got my Warlord's Companion, which is my general's unit. Very awesome looking unit here. With their, like, I don't know. I don't even know what you call those things that they put over their faces. Because you don't want to get stabbed in the mouth, that's for sure. So I've got one of them, and flanked by him is 2 of these Berserker units. So, again, they've got very nice skins. They look very tough and that kind of thing, and they can, very much like the Berserkers in Total War Rome 2, in that they can go Berserk and lose control. Then we have, bringing up the rear, is 2 Axe Herdmen, and right up the back are 4 Levy Freemen, very cheap, just hoping to hold off any rear cav charges. And right out in the flanks, I've got skirmishes. My opponent here Sparbed has brought 4 of these slinger units. He is playing as the Emirate of Cordoba, I think is the faction. Right out in the flanks, he's got Berber Light Cav, 2 over there and 2 over here. Definitely, these guys are light, so they are very fast, but they won't be able to stand up in an engagement with most of my units, I would say. Unless you can get into the rear of them and get some really nice, you know, rear charges and that kind of thing. He's also got a center of 4 of these Andalusian infantry. Fairly tanky sword units there. And then out in the flank he's got Berber warriors, and up the rear he's also got a couple of these Berber warriors as well, and his general is a Umayyad guard cavalry. So the skirmishing engagement is just started. My opponent does have the advantage, even though I've got archers. I put them out into loose formation just to make sure they can absorb a lot of fire. My opponent did take the high ground, which I was happy to concede. I wasn't going to get there quick enough, because he does have this light cavalry that would probably beat me to any good locations anyway. Oh yeah, check this out. So the formation kind of bugged out, and you could see that all my units were kind of being sent to the edges of the map. That was really bizarre. So I've had to try and just consolidate my units and pull back. And you can see I'm just trying to reform my formation somewhat here. So my opponent was like, the fuck are you doing, man? But it just turns out I was trying to take control of my units. So I'm getting shot in the back, which is definitely not a good thing. Skirmishes in this game seem to be more of an asset than in Attila previously. You can definitely do some serious damage, even with very cheap slingers like these. You can see he's just ripping me apart. This spearman down by quite a lot of mans, almost down to half strength there. And he is forming a bit of a surround with his light cav, just kind of getting around the edges here. I'm just going to have to make sure I can keep my skirmishes safe. My Viking hunters as well. So just going to compare stats here. My Viking hunters with light bow infantry would probably do missile damage 40, missile damage 38. So the slingers, I believe the slingers are going to have more ammo as well. Armor, I have slightly more armor, but not by much. The ammunition's about the same, 12 to 13. So you can see my my formation is formed back up. I've got my Levy Freemen just kind of warding off these Berber Light Cav. I'm hoping to destroy them with my skirmishes. A couple of good volleys from these units here will render them pretty much useless. So closing the gap now. I am taking fire, but we're going to push back his slingers. And I'm just clicking attack orders all across the board here. I just want to engage with my spearmen, the cheap units, and then send in my second line afterwards. But yeah, you can see pretty vicious combat there. Losing 5 men straight off the bat. Again, charging into Andalusian infantry. If he was in shield wall there, he probably would have done quite well in that engagement. It seems like you can definitely play more defensive in this expansion pack, Age of Charlemagne. In previous games in Total War Rome 2, if you were playing defensively, as in trying to counter what the enemy does, it didn't usually pay off. But now in this Age of Charlemagne DLC, expansion pack, it does seem to be working out quite well. So he's going to immediately go for a rear charge. Really nice job for my opponent here, but I'm about to turn around my skirmishes and pour in a bit of fire. My mainline infantry are just starting to crumble in the center. They have done a fairly good job against the Andalusian infantry in soaking up a bit of damage. But I'm about to send in my second line infantry, which is Axe Herdmen. Now these guys will have lots of armor-piercing damage. They'll do quite well in those engagements. Closing the gap with my Levy Freeman, triple XP chevrons. Again, like, upgrades on units are a lot cheaper in Attila, so it seems like a more viable option. So I'm actually going to try and snipe his general here. I've got a couple of my Viking hunters just trying to focus fire and do as much damage as I can. Over on this flank, I'm kind of just moving up with my skirmishes, trying to get half-decent shots. Again, flaming shot coming in here, just trying to get these Berber warriors off the field. But it didn't end up working out so well for me. How am I? Yeah, here we go. So my skirmishes are taking shots into these horsemen here. They're going to get lots of kills. Attila is such a nice looking game. Yeah, really nice looking game. Very picturesque. So this is what I'm talking about. If he was in shield wall when I charged him, he probably would have won a lot of those engagements. My berserkers are out of control. They've only got 80 men in their unit. Yeah, you can see these units are just carving through a whole bunch of these spearmen. Andalusian infantry not able to hold up, and they will absolutely rip through those Berber warriors there. Umayyad Guard cavalry, fairly good missile block chance, so they're actually holding up quite well to my archer fire. My Axe Herdmen are coming up against his Andalusian warriors, and they're doing quite a good job. I wouldn't say they're winning it. Okay, here we go. Losing decisively. Oh, wait. Yeah, losing slightly. That's too bad. This is probably their ideal target. And I'm getting some very nice rear shots into this unit with my archers there. So again, I've won this flank pretty convincingly. I'm going to bring my units around. My opponent's got a couple of these Berber Light Cav left, but they just haven't really been able to make an impact as of yet. You can see my opponent's just kind of crumbling under the weight of my infantry. So slingers are out of ammo, just kind of firing on those guys. And it's about now that I can bring my Warlord's Companion in. These guys are fairly good. The General's units in this DLC pack seem to be quite expensive. This Warlord's Companion is like 1,100 talons there. But you do get fairly good melee attack, fairly good weapon damage. Charge bonus is pretty woeful, but... And here we go, rear charge from the Berber Light Cav. I'm going to get some good shots in there. But it looks like I've won the center, and at the moment it looks like it's GG. Berserkers again, just going nuts. Look at these idiots. It's so dumb. I hate that animation so much, but... Like, that seems like a good tactic. Let's just flail our shields and swords up in the air while we run into combat. That'll work out heaps well. It's not like we need to use them or anything. So Andalusian infantry, casualties sustained, kind of ripping through them at this point. This Umayyad Guard cavalry did a pretty good job actually. He didn't really get heaps of kills, but at the moment he's just running like rear charges and that kind of thing, which probably would have been a good asset earlier on in the game. You see the trees are on fire just over there. My opponent's got some of these slinger units left, but not with much ammo. If they were to fire on these berserkers, they would probably get quite a lot of kills there. That may be a replay bug, actually. Anyway, a little bit too late because I've just killed the enemy general, and we've got lots of units left. My opponent, if he had used his light cavalry to get into my skirmishes, it probably would have been able to turn the tide of that battle. But just the fact that those skirmishes are light units means that they weren't really able to kind of win it out. Cavalry doesn't really seem to have the same effect in this DLC as it does in Attila. Like in Attila, they was straight out OP. Like it was fucking ridiculous. Whoa, this Berserker unit's getting 486 kills. Jesus Christ. That's great though. You get these guys into combat, just let them do their thing, run into the fray and just kind of chase people around for a bit. Yeah, you can see Berbalak. This unit got a pretty good, that must have been the one getting rear charges over there with my spearmen. 137 kills there, so it's a very nice. And all across the board, and Illusion Infantry. Actually not quite a bad unit there. Getting a few kills on my own spearmen, I'm sure. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks, Barbed, for the game. We'll have plenty more of this Charlemagne gameplay coming up very soon, so stay tuned for more. Peace.